Last time on Minecraft Hardcore, we built a Grastle, and next time we'll be building my biggest project to date. However, I will not be making the same mistake of using iron tools for that build. So today, the plan is to become overpowered-ish. More on that later. But for now, let's get into I remembered spotting the entrance to a lush cave whilst gathering materials for the last video. We headed straight there and dove right into the bowels of the earth, grabbing some coal and copper on the way. I also spent an unreasonable amount of time waiting for this lava to stop flowing. It was at this point I realised I'd forgotten to bring both wood and a water bucket. Thankfully, I had remembered to bring a crafting table, so the water bucket shouldn't have been an issue, or it wouldn't have been if I hadn't spotted this fish on the verge of death. I unfortunately have a heart, so now we needed another bucket and another water source. We then descended deeper into the cave, grabbing iron and other resources along the way before encountering some mobs. The cave then opened up into a cavern, and lo and behold, we have ourselves a mineshaft. Yet another win for the tally-ho method, as now we had both wood and an easy place to look for diamonds. And speaking of, here you'll see my very composed reaction to finding our first set. We next headed onto the mineshaft and had a very distinguished encounter with a zombie. However, it was at this point I heard a rabid ankle biter nearby, and from there, I was on edge. There's nothing worse than having to deal with children. Regardless, we pressed onward, spotting another diamond adjacent to a spider spawner. Being the highly skilled gamer that I am, I ran away to safety before heroically felling the spiders pursuing me from as safe a distance as physically possible. We also spotted a diamond I'd missed earlier, and grabbed that on our way back. We made light work of the spawner, and were rewarded with yet another diamond. I then headed back onto the shaft, spotting even more diamonds nearby, and after dispatching the mobs, we grabbed another 6. However, the ankle biter sounded to be fast approaching, so we made a swift departure, stumbling across an amethyst on the way and taking some of its shards. With the base in sight and a hole in our inventory, we could now move on to I decided that before returning to the mines, it would be a smart idea to upgrade our gear. We had enough for both the missing diamond tools and the chestplate, so after tidying up our inventory, we'd embark to a village and borrow some of its constituents, who would then occupy one of the 4 towers. Finding the village was the easy part. Getting the villagers home was another story, as I'd opted to transport them by boat. However, it does leave me with a convenient place to explain what I meant earlier by overpowered-ish. I could have done the whole, in this video we'll be getting full netherite armor as well as unlimited totems. But in my opinion, that's boring. The whole point of hardcore is that if you die once, you lose the world. Making yourself unkillable almost defeats the point of it. My goal in this playthrough is to build some cool stuff whilst enjoying the game, focusing on one project in each video and actually feeling involved within the world. Whilst I'm by no means saying I'll never use totems, I don't want to go out of my way to farm them. We'll get a few when we do a raid or explore a mansion, but I don't want to remove all risk from the playthrough. So with that in mind, the goal for today is full diamond armor, enchanted with protection, unbreaking and mending. Enough that I can take on a few mobs without worry, but not enough to make me. I also ended up putting feather falling on my boots because during the 3rd person searching, I nearly died a few times to jumping into a cave. And the only thing I refuse to do in this world is die to fall damage. As for the tools, I'll be adding efficiency to all of them, as well as fortune on my pickaxe, simply because I'm lazy and want to spend as little time as possible actually gathering. So, with that now explained, I'll cut past the next 6 minutes of rowing to after we got this fella home. I enticed him into the Grastle with the perspective of a job, then used a minecart to imprison him in his cell. I mean, his new luxury office. We treat our employees well on this channel. I set him up as a Fletcher and grabbed the other 2 villagers we'd need, and this is where my hatred for villagers was reignited. I managed to get both a mending trade and an unbreaking trade quite quickly, so I got to chopping wood and locked both of their trades in. Then it was time for them to breed, and that was slow. They needed an egregious amount of bread and beds, as well as a good few hours, within which I had time to not only farm emeralds from them, but also make some substantial upgrades to the base, as well as building a farm. And if the pain couldn't get worse, not only did I then have to spend over an hour searching for the last 2 enchantments, but I also realised these scoundrels were blatantly scamming me. If it isn't clear enough by now, I cannot stand working with villagers. I actually opted to use an enchantment table over villagers to acquire the Feather Fallen book, but in the end we acquired both Prot 4 and Efficiency 5 trades, albeit a rather extortionate one for the latter. So 5 hours of villager tomfoolery later, we could finally return to back into the mines we went, in search of the footage of me actually enchanting my gear, which I didn't find in the end, so on to the next goals. More diamonds, more iron, you know the drill. With no mobs in sight, never mind. Oh, and oh look, another one, alongside some diamonds. However, more excitingly, he was generous enough to drop a chainmail helmet. A goal of mine is to collect a full set, so that was very much appreciated. From the 2 diamond ore we received 8 diamonds, as well as stumbling across and befriending an axolotl. We then found some more diamonds, bringing our total to 14, and from there it was only up, quite literally. That cave led back up to a mine shaft we'd seen earlier. Whilst it was above deep slate level, meaning no diamonds, it would give us a great opportunity to find more coal and iron. So I decided we'd explore it. Upon hearing a horde of zombies nearby, I looked around and spotted some mossy cobble within a wall. A zombie spawner. We mined in from the other side, took care of the horde, and then looted the chests. Nothing spectacular, but we did end up getting 2 music discs, which is a win in my books. After that, we headed back into the mine shaft, grabbing enough iron, copper and coal to last us for the foreseeable future. We also encountered this pretty cool generation. I've never seen a lush cave chest personally, and thought this was a very cool find. Speaking of, we also found this hidden nook with 2 minecart chests hidden within. Whilst neither held anything remotely valuable, another good find on the board. This took us to an opening, which led into a deeper cave, with another mine shaft at the end of it, as well as the final diamonds we needed. I bridged over to them, secured the valuables, and then decided to continue exploring, finding yet another few diamonds, and then this happened. I may have appeared unfazed, and I was. For completely unrelated reasons though, I decided to return to the surface, which had more farming and trading in store. And now I'll take you for a tour of the upgraded base, show off our flashy new armour, and get into what our next project will entail. So folks, here we have the bedroom. Still a mess as usual, or as same as last time. This is by far the least changed room, just a bit of a mess of chests. We do have an anvil and a little bench now just to try and spruce the place up a bit. Have the farm we mentioned earlier, and then over here we have the room that will not be changing anytime soon. Because to be quite frank, these villagers do not deserve anything nicer than their luxury offices they currently occupy. They did help us get this though. We have armor trims on it, prop 4, unbreaking 3, mending, the whole shebang on all the bits of armor. And same with the tools. We've got fortune, efficiency, unbreaking, mending on the pickaxe, efficiency, unbreaking, mending on the other tools as well. And then we have my second favorite room currently, and also the second closest to being finished, the storage room. Pretty significant upgrades here. I really like the floor texture with green wool, hence the sheep, and moss carpets. I quite like the stairs. I wanted to do like almost a scaffolding frame but with blocks, but I ended up just doing this and I quite like it, so we'll be keeping it. We've got the second floor here, which we haven't even touched yet. There's nothing in any of these, and then we'll have a third one above, and I think it will just be more storage unless we need something else. But the third room, and by far my favorite thus far, is the enchanting table room. And here it is, not finished yet. My goal is to put glowstone all around the bottom here with carpet on top. And then the walls we're going to have with the library. We've got the roof here, which I really like the look of, especially these sort of corner pillars. And then up here, we have what I'm calling the archives, I believe. It's basically just going to be the place where we put all the stuff that we collect along the way. So here, for example, the first set of armor that we made, first set of iron armor at least, as well as the sword and the pickaxe. The axe and the shovel broke, but we have those two left. So that will be staying there. Probably have a dragon egg here, maybe first with a skeleton skull here, maybe a map of the world here, something like that. Not 100% sure yet, but something along those lines. And then the other cool bit is I'm fairly sure that you can, I mean, we can test it. I'm fairly sure, yeah, you can put books in there. So if we make some books, this is where I keep all my cords, but when we do start making books, we can whack them in there and that'll be a nice little bit of detail. I just feel like having these, we can have a couple of empty spots, but having those empty bookshelves with actual books in them, I just feel like it adds so much more like texture to the wall. Yeah, that is by far my favorite room at the minute. So finally onto what we're doing next time. So as alluded to in the intro, we're going to be building like a giant Atlas statue, which is going to house the nether portal. And the thinking behind it is the ruined portals that you can find around the map, they look like almost as if the nether is coming through the portal and sort of corrupting the earth. So if we have our portal, you know, up there, it's almost like we built the statue to prevent it spreading. So we can have like an Atlas statue here and then a corrupted bit of land with the portal on top. I think that'll look really cool at least. And yeah, I think it will be a fun project to undertake. The only thing I'm thinking, I could put it on here, but I don't know if this is big enough for what I'm going for. Like if the knee's here and the back of the foot there, I don't think it's big enough. We'll see. I'll probably try and mock up in creative or something. But that is the goal for next time. That is the project we're going to be doing. And then after that, we're finally going to work our way to the base and we're just going to fully finish it, complete the towers, and then part of me wants to build like a giant beacon in the middle, like a quad beacon but double the size almost, and then have like 4 different biomes for like each different tower. So this could be cherry, for example, or maybe custom mock up some trees or something. Not too sure because that is still quite far off into the future, but that's what we're thinking. So I hope you enjoyed, folks. If you did, please do consider leaving a like on the vid and maybe subscribing to the channel. I know this last sort of segment has been very different to like the rest of the video in terms of production, you know, no subtitles, that sort of stuff. I just wanted something chill to sort of wrap everything up with, and I didn't want to subtitle it, to be honest with you. Yeah, I hope you have enjoyed, folks. Take care, and I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.